Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the Mid-South Wrestling Review series. We're going to finish off the series most likely within the next week, probably shorter than that. I've got about 10 or so more episodes left to put up, and then I've got to search on social media and YouTube for other episodes to add. But the majority of the network stuff is going to be gone. We've got over 150 episodes up now, and we're going to finish off what's on the network here in the next week or so. Anyway, October 5th, 1985 is the episode at hand. And also, please, if you are interested in life, business, relationship, or entertainment coaching, go to my main channel, Golden Opportunities Coaching, and that would be helpful in that way. In any event, the October 5th version of this program, not anything terribly worth writing home about. It's not a bad program, but it's also not like something that, for example, if you missed it, you're not gonna have major challenge or issue, and so kind of go into a guy like a Al Perez. Perez is being hyped pretty quickly here. He's being hyped, I think, more so because they're looking for young baby faces. They're looking for guys who are, and I mean, the hype music video, there's nothing actively wrong with it, but at the same time, it's more of a there to kind of get people to care. And the fact that he's been tag team champion and it looks like ostensibly he's being overpushed or pushed in a more aggressive than would be normal, natural, average way is uncomfortable. It doesn't come across as though he's really over at the level that Bill Watts would want for 1985. We've got to remember 85, 86, they're going national, and I don't know that Al Perez ever hits with Mid-South. I don't know that he ever, well, maybe in Texas he did, but I don't know that he ever hits the way that everybody wants in a real meaningful way anyway. Not to say that he's, ineffective, but Perez and Cooley, who are your on-again, off-again tag team champions here, are, in fact, in a match with Styles and the Masked Raider. It's a very basic match, nothing to write home about, nothing to really get overly excited about, especially with the talent that's been through here before. 85 seems to me to be one of those times when, it's a little awkward. You see some basic tag team work. Cooley is a guy who never really hit with me anyway, in the sense of he's a good hand in the ring, but completely not a guy that I imagine would even get over today or be a guy who would have a job in today's market. I could see Al Perez kind of doing a Razor Ramon style gimmick and actually wonder why he didn't get more of a chance in larger companies, but more of a pushed chance. I mean, he was in WCW, was in WWF, but never really connected. And I don't quite get that. Anyway, body slams and such by this team, and kind of the tag that's there is very simple, very going towards a bit more of a brawling style send off, and there we go. The flying forearm is there. Perez, a guy who by 1990, so within 5 years, kind of has seen the better part of his career. They kind of go back down into kind of a flying forearm type position. Jake Roberts and El Casario is up next. Jake Roberts is now a babyface, which for this era, and I mean, he's less than a year away from being in WWF. I think he leaves sometime in early 86. But here he's kind of having a babyface run, which I don't know that ever really gets fully where Roberts would want it to go. I don't know that it reaches full intensity. Casario, of course, is Savio Vega, TNT under a mask. We see Roberts with arm work, arm drags, and really basic stuff here. Roberts, a master psychologist. This is no different there. Actually, seeing him hit a leapfrog is kind of a weird thing. Casario actually backs out of the DDT at a point, hits a couple martial arts chops, and the match is slowed down considerably. Casario tries to go after Roberts pretty aggressively here. Roberts gets kind of hooked up on the arm lock, and we see several shots there. Ultimately, uh, and again, Casario's a guy who really, as we kind of see him kind of pull Roberts down into a very much slower match, but that's what's needed at this time. I don't know if he'd really gotten over in. Uh, I don't think he had in Puerto Rico at this time. Obviously, Savio Vega in Puerto Rico might even still be a guy that they use from time to time as a legend today. Obviously, his major WWF run doesn't come till 94, 95, so another 10 years. But I mean, he was a major talent in the Puerto Rican area for decades here. Really slow deal here as kind of a nerve holds brought forward. Roberts, who is methodical by nature anyway, is slowed down to a, I won't say an unenjoyable level, but certainly not a level that Jake Roberts is what you'd expect out of his matches. He eventually gets a short clothesline, and then eventually does kind of get get things going back his way. The kicks, though, and martial arts nature of Casario is what kind of keeps things going. Jump kick. Actually, Roberts smart doesn't take the bump for the jump kick. Instead, falls back into the ropes. Jake fires up and eventually hits a DDT and gets a victory here. But they do put in a good bit of time there. DiBiase and Dr. Death, former tag team champions, against Tony Falk and Pat Rose. You know, I don't know that they necessarily are a team that kind of runs into a case of, do they need to be teaming at this point in 85? I really don't know. DiBiase obviously has been here since 81 on and off. Of course, he'd been in Georgia before that, but for the most part, the first several years of DiBiase's career is here. Dr. Death, who probably is physically in the best kind of hoss shape of his life in the country at this point, from about 85 to 92, is really starting to come into his own. DiBiase kind of sends his opponent off. DiBiase stocking up a little bit in terms of putting on a little bit of extra weight. Power slam by him, and then kind of sends Tony Falk comes in the hard way. As I hit my mic, sorry folks. Kind of gets dragged into the ring, vertical suplexes, and really basic nature DiBiase not wanting to end the match. Williams comes back in, pulls the man up. DiBiase comes back in and kind of hits a big backdrop. DiBiase at this point a huge get for the company, and actually we see an avalanche power slam from the second rope by Williams, giving him the victory. Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, actually, Eddie Gilbert comes out and basically says all the women want him, and that he's made arrangements for there to be a photo that they can purchase or bid on or give an essay for as to why he or they should win that kind of wall hanging. Really heavy heel stuff. Eddie, who finds his own in 85 through 92, 93. Eddie Gilbert, one of my favorite all-time talents, and it's really sad what happened to him with his addictions and the paranoia that came with it. But right about here, 85, is when Eddie starts to come into his own. Then we go to a review series of Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer. This is a video that they'd done from years prior in his hype matches for the Junkyard Dog, and he's actually talking about beating the dog. There's a Rottweiler in a cage. Basically, the Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer talks about, in fact, being the only Mad Dog in wrestling. And then we go to Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer in an enhancement match with Broadway Joe. Don't know much about Broadway Joe. I don't think we're supposed to. We've seen him a couple times before, but nothing really worth writing home about there. Mad Dog wears the bandana, kind of tears the jacket off of Broadway Joe and kind of whips him around. Big power slam match goes a really short length of time. Actually, the reverse fall away power slam from the second rope on the inside is where this goes. Uh, Dick Slater has a music video where he's traveling in the fast lane. That's kind of a big, I guess, a big thing. Kind of the music video hyping Slater. Slater against Richard Dunn up next, and I'm not necessarily sure that still. I don't understand the appeal of Dick Slater. Would love people to point it out to me in some sort of way that makes sense to me. He faces Dunn here. Slater's only been in for a little bit. Hits punch kick, chop chop. Kind of, I know people have relegated him to Terry Funk. Terry Funk's probably one of my top 20 all time favorite talents, and I do not see Slater in Funk or Funk in Slater, but a lot of people do. So he's a bit of a brawler. Reminds me at this time of having a body type almost like a stockier Tracy Smothers. And then we kind of see him hook up and get a gut wrench double underhook suplex. He's very dominant, gets a victory really, really quickly, and goes to town on that. Then we see Dutch Mantell and Bill Dundee versus the Fantastics as a closing match of the broadcast here this week. They're given almost 10 minutes, which for that time period is a big deal. The Fantastics in Memphis, I don't know if that ever happened, but I could imagine that would have worked out really well. They're doing something on a pole match here. They're climbing to the top of the pole. It is Dundee and I believe, let's see, Dundee and Tommy Rogers are climbing the pole in the early stages of the match. They're kind of stumbling around. I've never really liked pole matches. The climbing takes away from the flow of the match, in my own personal opinion, but it is what it is. And, you gotta add gimmicks. I mean, if you're in the same towns every week and you're with the same talent for months or years at a time, you can't exactly, and locker rooms were much, much smaller at the time. It's there. Finally, Dutch Mantell tags in, and Bobby Fulton tries to go to the top of the pole at his rate. The match itself is actually hindered by the whole pole thing. It's fine, but it's not something that I would consider TV main event unless you're into working a gimmick as a main source of a match. There is a point where all four guys are in the ring, and Tommy Rogers and Dutch Mantell pair off. Mantell, obviously the power guy in that team. Dundee kind of the speed. Mantell hangs one of the Fantastics upside down in the corner. Bobby Fulton manages to go more of a brawling style, and he's more aggressive. Obviously, these two teams have gone to battle before. This is not new territory for them. Dundee sends his opponent into the buckle and then tries to climb the pole again. Must be a weapon or something up there. And I remember when I wrote it, the announcers did a kind of poor job of getting me excited about what's on top of the pole and all of that. Anyway, match continues to go on. Mantell and Fulton comes back around. All four guys end up back in there brawling a bit, and chaos ensues for the next several minutes.